Good morning. It's another beautiful day here on Sonic. How are you doing today, Dracula?
Doing good, man. Yesterday we had a revenge pump, as they would say, but today we're back in the red.
Today we're having a whatever the opposite of revenge is, deflate. It sure does feel good to wake up in the morning and know my financial future's in the hands of various desert princes. So King BB, Ayatollah Khamenei, is that the one? I don't know. The Ayatollah, please be kind, okay? Stop blowing stuff up for once. If not for me, if not for the children, then for the money at least. God damn, bro.
Yeah, do it for the money. Do it for our bags.
Do it for the bags. Do it for the trench warriors out here like Say Sonic, who is in the trenches. Thankless work here on Sonic.
Yes, every day, day in and day out. But I don't know. It doesn't surprise me really. I think that kind of like what we went through with the tariff stuff. It's just like I think there's going to be stuff probably daily until we see some resolution where it's like there will be things that cause big like pullbacks. There will be things that make it pump. So buckle up, prepare. It's I don't know. I feel like it was interesting the way the market performed in general when this all started. It actually, I think if we weren't already dealing with the tariffs and Ukraine and Russia and everything, we probably would have seen actually like a lot different price action, I think.
Yeah.
Basically, of course, the alts are being way more, volatile than Bitcoin. But when you look at Bitcoin, I mean, it's just like, immovable object.
What this says to me? This pattern, this ebb and flow, is that chuds are in control. Forget the bears. Forget the bulls. It's the chuds, dude.
Was that Beijing?
Okay, because they think nothing else is gonna. They think nothing's ever gonna happen. So what they do is they just wobble. You know what I mean? They're like they have an immediate emotional reaction, and then they're like, "Oh wait, nothing ever happens." Buy the dip, so it's going back up. And then this event occurs. Like I don't know if you saw. There were some posts going around on Twitter. Maybe it's fake news. There were like ships on fire in the Strait of Hormuz. I think is what it's called. And if that's true, then things get pretty scary. Not to be a geopolitical expert, but I'm pretty sure if the Suez Canal or whatever gets blocked, that's like Marines are going in, dude.
Yeah. Then you're like stopping the flow of other people's cash, which they could do the courtesy for us to care about our cash, right? But
yeah, less goods flowing around the world, I guess, means less things flowing on the blockchain.
Yeah. So I mean, when you look at Bitcoin, like I said, it's like you wouldn't even have a clue that anything's going on. If you go to Sonic, we're still just hanging in here with the recent low that got created. I mean, we had to move up. Now, something interesting here
is this is all the community's fault.
Something interesting here, though. It's not all bad, right? Typically, I'm not a big like chart pattern guy. You know how like there's people that are like they trade all on like, oh, it's a inverted head and shoulders and it's a teacup and it's this and it's that. But I don't really trade a lot on that. But one thing I do trade on is hammers. And typically before you see a trend reversal, you start seeing these hammers because it's showing that the market doesn't know what it wants at the moment.
What do you mean by a hammer? A hammer formation? What is that?
Really so like a hammer is when like I don't know if you can see my icon. Okay. A hammer is kind of like when you have one of these candles that's like got a little bit of meat in the middle, but then it's wicked on both sides. That's like a hammer.
I see.
So basically, you have like your open and your close, and in between the open and closed, you've gone way up and way down. So hammer, like I said, a hammer is like a a good thing to look out for when you're, basically hoping for a reversal. So, like anything else, it's not a guarantee, but it's something to take into account. It's usually a good look.
It makes sense. It's like evidence of kind of a lot of accumulation happening across kind of a wider price range, so no one's really sure which way to go. So it's gonna like break out one way or the other, right?
Yeah, doji candle is also I guess that would be doji would technically be the correct term. A hammer is usually when it's kind of like one-sided wicked, but yeah, like I said, you see one of those with like the wicks on both sides, you're heading into reversal territory usually.
Something's about to pop off like crazy, bro. And I'm ready for it. I'm here for it, guys. I am, like I said, if you were look, if you're keyed in on my Twitter, you know where I'm positioned for this, all right? So go ahead, counter trade, you run my stops, take all my money, it's yours for the taking.
Hammer time. Yeah. No, I love your X because then it I start hunting your stops and it's easy money. It's free money.
Yeah, you're claiming $500, $200, $100 at a time. That's right. I just put $10,000 of my capital to take 100 of yours, and I don't give a damn. Okay, so, yeah, no, I'm excited. I had a lot of horrible fun playing this over the weekend. I was in a fugue state. I was longing. I was shorting. I was doing all kinds of shit, Dracula. And you know what? None of it worked. Only one thing worked, and that was senseless belief in my assets because one long paid off for me. So stay safe out there, guys. Reversal possibly incoming, but don't bet the house,
Yeah, I mean, that's the territory we get into with you have things like this happening and everybody wants to land the bottom. Mm-hmm. I'm playing it more of like I'm not doing like really tight stops. I'm kind of like playing it like I feel like we're bottom-ish. So I've set up some longs that are more like, really far, not necessarily like super high leverage, in terms of like, okay, like I don't think you want to have something that you have to have like a tight stop, like a really tight stop on. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I'm playing it. I mean, obviously we have to see how things escalate. There are some people that feel like, this might actually get wrapped up remotely quick. But on the flip side, there are doomers that also are saying the chatter is that Israel is kind of pivoting to saying maybe now's the time for a change in leadership in Iran. And if that's the case, we got a whole other story compared to, peace talks or something to like get the nuclear program stuff finally totally off the table. So yeah, we're going to have to see,
You said Israel is changing their plans. I was a little bit worried that you were going to say they're going to start targeting sonic validators.
Yeah. I think the validators are safe at the moment.
For now.
Yeah, for now. But yeah, I mean,
sonic validator India.
Obviously, there's only so much real news we get, and X can be a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? Like people can easily propagate fake news at the same time. Sometimes it's the best place to get like the actual news. So I mean, you have to
gotta take everything with a little bit of grain of salt. But let's move on because we got a guest here, and they're going to run. We don't want to run them out of time. Real quick before we bring our guest on here, I want to say, when is S going to be listed on Coinbase? I think it's going to be tomorrow, dude.
Yeah, buy S.
Personally, I think it's going to be tomorrow.
I can kind of. I mean, usually the process when they move it to the when they start moving it through their little system of the different platforms it being available on before it like finally hits prime time. Usually I've seen it go somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks. I feel like is usually kind of like seems like a common area. So obviously can't call it 100%, but hey, wouldn't it be nice if, imagine this, Israel-Iran gets wrapped up in the next week or two.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We send at
permissionless, we get like a launch date for Flying Tulip, And that launch date with Flying Tube just kind of like somehow coincides right around when S truly hits Coinbase. Can you imagine it? Can you see it
right now? Just one singular God candle, from 30 cents to $30.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, but anyway, just a thought. But yeah, let's bring OX Fantom in here. He's involved with Fmoney Market. Good morning.
0x Fantom. How are you today?
It looks like your mic's off, sir.
You're muted, good sir. We might have surprised him a little bit.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Great, dude. Are you feeling bullish or bearish on the war in the Middle East?
Starting out strong, right? Is very bearish for everybody. I think war is never good for anyone but the leaders. But
that's right. And I think that's why we should design a project where we kind of incentivize leaders to duke it out. But we'll save that for another time. Fantom, thank you for coming on the show. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, dude? We were talking a little bit before the show. You've been around for a good minute. You've had your hands some Sonic and Fantom pies. Give us your little rundown, dude.
I've been around since 0x DAO, not really as a developer per se, but it kind of the whole platform and speaking to the devs like Erie and those got me really into becoming a Web3 developer. So I've been around for a while. Dipped my toe in some other chains as well. Like I don't know if you know about the Eniad.
That was was that like it was like a Ramses kind of fork or something?
It's a Ramses L2, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, Ramses L2. My God.
Yeah. So from Fantom, people would know me from. Some people would know me from AFCO. Some people would know me from the Fantom money markets. That's now the free money markets.
Fantom, what is your main focus now?
To help to develop Sonic into a more diverse platform, bring some people on. We noticed that Taro doesn't seem to be, we don't know when they're going to launch, or there doesn't seem to be any news about it. Us over at Fmoney, we saw that and we decided to, maybe we could dip our toes in that niche as well. But we noticed that there's an overall issue with adoption of Uniswap v3 NFPs. It's a little more complicated than LPs used to be. And sometimes that's a big barrier to entry. And it's probably also what's slowing down Taro from coming over. We decided to build our own active liquidity manager as a layer between, to kind of retokenize Uni V3 NFPs back into almost like an LP token, but you keep all the benefits of it actually being a Uniswap v3 NFP. So it is like the LPs of yore, but it's still concentrated. So there's more fees. On top of that, there will be leverage. So going to bring back the 5x, 10x leverage on your USDC/wrapped on Shadow.
Yeah, that was kind of my next question. Was you had mentioned Taro, so I was going to ask, like what kind of leverage are we talking here?
A degenerate amount, as far as you're willing to take the risk, because it gets pretty risky after that.
Well, that's pretty exciting, right? No, he almost got me. He almost fucking got me. Ban this guy. Okay, no, I mean that's pretty cool, man. So we're talking about tokenizing your LP position. So I make like a shadow position, and then I can leverage it up, dude. That's kind of crazy. Especially because how volatile these things are. Did you say there is an ALM incorporated to this as well? Like, will it keep it in range?
Yes. So we looked at other ALMs, and what we decided to do is we have 3 positions essentially instead of the 2 that I think Beefy does. We have 3. One stays in the tightest range. One is a little wider, and the other one is as wide as possible. And that way you will never you'll never fully be out of range. You'll always be earning something, right? But the tightest range does move. So, and I was thinking a little earlier, the second range probably should move as well, but probably slower. It'll inch its way back into range all the time. With every deposit, with every withdraw, and every time anybody claims rewards, it'll inch it a little back into range. So there isn't any drastic moves, and there isn't any bouncing around of NFPs. It'll just be slow and gradual. But if the tight range is out of range for too long, it will jump to get you back those high fees.
Nice. So we were talking about like auto rebalancing here. I'm interested in this. What is this project called? This is what Taro used to do, but we're modernizing. We're bringing the UniV3 component in. So what is this project called?
So we're bringing the Taro part of it. We're bringing it into the fold for Fmoney. So it'll be another Fmoney product. We'll have it in conjunction with what's there now, the Compound V2. The underlying ALM will be technically separate, but Fmoney will be built on top of it. So anybody else that wants to create other DeFi primitives that maybe weren't able to get in because of the UniV3 and they want to take advantage, they can. So now we could bring yield farms back. We could make Snake available to add all the pools of shadow instead of just the old ones.
I see what you're saying. So you're trying to say you're going to unlock a whole lot of functionality by unlocking this kind of LP value. Now, what are the risks here with this? Because there's got to be something, right? There's got to be something that could go horribly wrong. We talk just the impermanent loss risk.
Yeah, there's the impermanent loss risk, and also because it is a layer. If there's a hack or exploit on the underlying place, like heaven forbid Shadow or Metro or whatever, we have no control over that.
Mm-hmm. So the typical smart contract risk as well. Okay.
Yeah, and then there will be a little more impermanent loss than a UniV2, but it'll be less than UniV3 than just keeping a tight range.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested in playing with this thing, dude. When are you guys going to go live with some of these features? Don't tell me now, because then I'll look like an ass.
No, it's not yet. This is the first time I'm talking about it really in public. So there's a little bit of alpha for you guys. Exclusive on GMSONIC, right?
That's right.
So,
Winston, you know what to do.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hell yes.
So we still have to do all our due diligence with audits and the like, but it's coming. It's coming pretty soon. Hopefully it doesn't get an audit hell, but
yeah,
it's coming.
Well, man, that's awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to checking that out. And so it's still just going to be branded with Fmoney, right? It's not like a new branding or anything. It's still like Fmoney markets.
Yeah, it'll be a part of the Fmoney markets. If we rebrand it, we'll rebrand the whole thing. So,
all right, cool. Well, man, thanks for hopping on, letting us know what you're working on. You'll have to keep us updated, and we will definitely share the news when you guys are getting closer to launch.
All right, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Something that we were also talking about before the show, there was two big announcements regarding season 2 of the Sonic airdrop. Assistant here saying that they've been talking about trying to like get integrated with Kato since like before even season 1. From what I have gathered here and heard some other things. I think they've got it done. I think it's actually live now on Kato in terms of tracking Sonic. But for season 2 specifically, they are going to be pushing Yaps and Kato. Yeah, South says you can start now. So assistant says top 1,000 Yappers are going to get a nice share of the airdrop. And if you FUD, you'll just get kicked automatically.
Okay, so at first, all right, let me tell you my fucking journey here on feelings on this. First, I was like, it's a little late. I've kind of always thought Yaps were kind of gay. Like, it's just like distributed KOL shit. But this last sentence here, I really love it, dude. It's really incentivizing me because I want to get a nice share of the airdrop. And it's so funny that fudders get slashed. That's so awesome. Because it's like a way of like enforcing party unity. This is like some communist party type shit. You know what I mean?
Assistant's like the whip for the party.
Yeah, he's the whip for the party, dude. He's saying you're gonna vote along our lines, or we're gonna kick you out, dude. Like you're done.
Now that is maybe somebody in the chat knows. Does Kato, obviously on X, the algorithm favors negativity and like certain language. Does Kato also account for like negative posts, or is it more like is there a way it can distinguish between if your post has a lot of action and it's actually a bull post or a bear post?
They can definitely get sentiment analysis off of a post, like whether or not you're positive or negative. I remember working on a team and we were doing that for Discords and shit. So you could kind of like tell whether this overall sentiment in the Discord was positive or negative, because it's like a couple words you just like look for. But I'm like, I'm still kind of interested in this. I got to get my what do you call it? Bull posting up a little bit. I'm gonna start posting like insane, dude. I'm gonna post some shit y'all ain't ever seen before. Some kind of
if you want to put your tin hat on, I think that assistant only integrated Yaps because that Intel Scout guy had verified that he's the top account on Sonic right now.
Dude, you think so? That's why I pulled the trigger.
Yeah, so he's gonna get like this huge airdrop from it. You know what I mean? He's just he's just lining his pockets with his bull posting.
South brings up a good point here. I think it might be Cookie that does sentiment more than Kaido, because I think Cookie does smart followers too, but it also maybe does sentiment.
Yeah.
If I remember, I get them mixed up because I used to look at both dashboards like simultaneously, basically. But either way, basically the message is just fucking post positive and post a lot, get some interactions, be a little creative.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're,
consistent though. If he wins top spot, we're leading an open revolt, dude.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and say assistant has to like if he gets number 1, he has to just like give all his points to like the top 10 posters or something.
Look, he's got an unfair advantage. He's got the inside line. He could just post alpha every single day, piss off Andre, and then get a huge chunk of the airdrop, dude. That's insane. He's been doing a lot to drive up the interest in the network, so maybe he deserves it.
Oh, I'm sure that all in all, it's a positive thing. They've been working on it a long time. So excited to see it. I guess you can check what your stats are looking like already since it is live on Kato. But they're talking about that, and then something else that was interesting, and already a lot of debate on this in some of the chats, but they're trying to find a way to throw a bone to meme tokens for points. I think that's also something that's kind of like been in the background, trying to figure out like what makes sense, right? To incentivize meme tokens. You kind of have to be careful with it. So they're kicking around an idea of, I guess it would be similar to like Avalanche Rush, where you more so like stake your memes and you get points based on how long you've been staked, how quickly, like how soon you were staked. There's like a small burn fee, which is, I guess, nice for the projects involved. And yeah, no fee to unstake. But the whole idea would just be like, you're staking memes to get airdrop points for season 2. And I don't know, like, you think it's a good idea or you think it's a bad idea?
I think it's a fine idea. Throw the meme coiners some bones here a little bit. Because they kind of have been agitated lately, haven't they? A lot of meme coin holders, meme coin traders, meme coin communities have been wanting a little bit more recognition for the airdrop. They feel like they put the network on their back with activity, I suppose, which, possibly fair enough. To me, it seems like, I don't know. I would still like to see a more vivacious meme system, like more kinds of people launching, but like just more diversity, more action, more money flowing. Because it doesn't seem like it feels like people in Sonic are very loyal, so they kind of just move into 1 or 2 or 3, and then they kind of just sit.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the solution to that is. Usually it's more new blood, but maybe that's not even like a feasible thing, because when we look at other like Pump Fun or whatever, most of that is what, fake volume, fake launches. We don't really want that either, do we?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to balance, right? It's like, is it better to have a handful of like these extractive Pump Fun type people that are just launching tokens every day and 95% of them are dead or rug by the next day? Or, maybe there is somebody out there that, comes in, someone like a Danny or whatever, where it's like they come in, they drop a project, it's like a large focus. It's, a lot of money flowing. I think that, right now it's that we had a narrative for the first season airdrop. Obviously, season 2, I think when people realize that the campaign continues in seasons, we see some action. But I think, right now in general, besides Bitcoin, I mean, the market in general is not necessarily like going wild right now. I think that, the airdrop campaign helps, of course, but I think we're going to need, like we were talking about earlier, we're going to need like a flying tulip, or, the Coinbase launch, officially to, hit the US Coinbase proper. I think we need some kind of narrative to get some eyes back on and, get people coming back to, experiment with the chain.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what we need is RuneScape 2. We need a GUI overhaul for S4 Kingdom. That'll save us.
No, I just mean like, you saw it like when Sonic launched, when Sonic launched, there was a lot of hype with, the campaign. The market was doing, well. I'm talking about like after, we got through December and January, when we kind of like hit back closer to $1. It was like there were people coming into the ecosystem that were new people, and some of those people stuck around. I mean, there was a good bit of people. I know with Goggles, there was, Solana people, there was people from other chains coming in, and a lot of those people stuck around. But I think they were more like users. I think we did kind of have a wave of some of the more extractive people come through, and
Mongoose.
That didn't go great. I would say it was a solid 4 or 5 weeks there of a lot of, more extractive people, and they were quickly chased out of town with pitchforks. Is that good or bad? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's like, what brings the action back, right? And especially in terms of memes.
Mm-hmm.
We need something. We need a catalyst. We need,
Yeah, I think if we thought long and hard on it, we could come up with some dumbass gimmick that would get people very heated to do something with meme coins, right? I've got a couple ideas. I'm not going to say them on air because they're just so good, dude. Nah, it's because they're half formed and sound dumb. But hey, I'll come up with a couple. I wanted to
if you deploy on Sonic and your token hits over 1 million market cap, you get to wear Corval's kimono for a day.
For one day.
One day. And you got to ship it back to him right after.
Okay, how about this one, though? I was thinking about this. Thinking about the mechanism of like extractors, like you never know what you're going to get. What if it was a meme coin launcher that was just a casino? It was blatant about it. It was like, some of these are going to run, some of these aren't. We're going to pump some, we're just going to liquid, we're going to rug others. So, you know, try your luck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would be kind of funny for someone just to come right out the jump like, is it going to rug? I don't know.
Yeah.
It might rug. It might go to Valhalla, but you're just going to have to see.
We're a paint the chart simulator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we teach you how to paint the chart using meme coins.
Hey, you know what? I have an idea. I have an idea for Sonic. Why don't they sponsor? Why don't they sponsor like a random group of mercenaries or something?
What you know what Sonic should do? Oh, meme coin should do this. Hire a private army, hire Blackwater.
Yeah, because apparently Coinbase is now an official sponsor of the army. So,
dude, I'm glad you brought this up. I was going schizo mode on Drac the other day in the games. I was telling him my theories here about this. I think we're going to see a rebound on decentralization becoming popular again. So here's an interesting social science fact or something. They found this in research. Basically, vampire media is very popular when Republican administrations are in office, and zombie media is very popular when Democrat administrations are in office. Have you ever heard this? It sounds insane, but trust me, it makes sense somehow. Anyway, the point being, things come in like waves, like tastes fluctuate. And I think decentralized is going to come back in a big way because people are going to start fearing centralization in a big way, especially when you see stuff like this, right? Coinbase partnering with the US government. Crypto's got a thick libertarian streak in it at its base. Not going to be too happy about this. Coinbase also recently just released everyone's private information to like some hacker group or whatever. The government's partnering with Palantir. All these things coming together should make you, if you're a crypto person and care at all about the ethos or the technology, really what it fundamentally is supposed to accomplish, should be like, this is a little uncomfy, Because how different is this from just a bank where they know everything about me and they can just take my money whenever they want?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I agree with you that I wouldn't be shocked to see, you had this hard lean into traditional finance for so long. Everybody wanted traditional finance to get involved. Everybody wanted the institutions to get involved. It was such a big push for years. Oh, once the institutions come, it's, everything's going to pump. But it's that double-edged sword. I mean, we're getting the capital and the liquidity pumped into the system. But on the other hand, it is like we're moving away from that, ethos. And I wouldn't be shocked to see that either, as you see stuff like Coinbase sponsoring the army, where, there could be a large amount of people that are like, I am starting to feel not comfy having my funds sitting on something like Coinbase or a large exchange. So yeah, we were discussing it. It is kind of like it's sort of an odd move. I'm sure that there was some kind of strategy behind it. Like Corval said, hey, it'll probably at least buy them a good position for the next few years. But
yeah, there's a disconcerting thing happening with a lot of crypto and Trump administrations where it's a lot of very obvious quid pro quo stuff, like Justin Tron, aka Justin's son, buying, like, becoming the largest Trump token holder, then immediately getting the case against him dropped, and now he's getting, So,
yeah, I had this pulled up. Like it's wild. So yeah, he's the largest Trump holder. He gets the SEC thing dropped, and then I think it was this morning or yesterday, they were talking about this, where Justin's son is working on a deal to basically like merge with a US company so that he can go public with Tron, basically, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. But as you can see here, it says the deal was backed by the Trump-linked investment bank, and Eric Trump is expected to have a role in this company.
Yeah. little greasy stuff here. You know, it's a little greasy. It's not maybe what a true cypherpunk would have. Like, yeah, it's the bribe metas in bribe. Remember when we used to be so scared, like, oh, we can't call them curt bribes because they'll think it's illegal, and they're just blatantly just doing it in public. So, you know, whatever. Real quick, I think Mendoza C brings up a good point. Good topic here. We should talk. We should go and hunt 2 game scams. Look, I'm going to decipher this. We should go and talk about the scams like Aqua because no one is talking about it. I think he's ow, fuck. Pardon my language. My cat's claws are very sharp. Jesus. Yeah, no, we should. Aqua was a big rug that happened. There was another Sacra. We should talk about Sacra specifically because we talked about Sacra on the show. I even made an account on Sacra. Sacra's was a little weird. Never
I guess the GameFi stuff. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I guess with Sacra, what you saw happen was the chart looked like a rug. It was like they pulled liquidity, and I guess all the tokens got sold, and then they put out this vague statement saying that basically we provided the liquidity for the token. All you guys did was farm and sell. The game is still going to exist. We're just like removing the token aspect. But I guess that's one way to do it, right? But it
is. Look, I don't really know a whole lot about like their pre-raise or whatever, like how the funds have been managed up to this point. But there's no other way for it to appear than it as a rug, right? It's especially because they did it first, like unilaterally. They didn't tell anybody they were going to do it. They just did it. They just decided we're going to do this, which whether or not they have control over that, like who actually owns that money, I don't know. End of the day, bad PR. If you do want to, all right, I'm getting so ahead of myself here. Basically, the point of what they did was they said, yes, this is not profitable. We can't make the tokenomics work. So we're just going to pull this, use the funds as runway because we love building the game. We're going to keep building the game. And if people like playing the game, they can play the game.
Yeah.
Terrible, terrible, terrible way of approaching that if you want to have longevity because now no one trusts you. And I mean, who knows how long they'll actually stay developing it if there's no financial incentives involved, right?
I mean, it's something that it's like something I've talked about before. And listen, I don't have anything against GameFi. Sometimes I get accused of poo-pooing GameFi, okay? But here's what I'm going to tell you. The same reason that you put a Web3 token element in your game has become the same reason that you basically gave up on it, which is, you know, there's really not a ton of reasons why someone needs a token for their game. So let's face it, you probably had a token for the same reason that you were saying, hey, tokens pump, tokens make money, tokens can make us money, right? So it's kind of like, I feel like you kind of just have to take your lumps if the token fails, right? I mean, that was the risk. That was the risk you took. It could have been wildly successful. Would you have canceled your token if it was wild, like just crazy successful and pumping every day?
Maple Story or whatever, you know, like so. We've talked about this before, and this is just, I guess, a word of warning to. I think this should be said in the. I don't know how often this is said in the industry. I've seen some VCs say this, and I'm curious if I'm sure you agree, Dracula, but. A token is a project all in and of itself. It's a huge other endeavor. Yeah. So like you wouldn't launch 2 businesses on the same day, right? Yeah. Because you're one guy. That's really difficult. So don't do that. And 2, do you even need a token really? Like if you can make a product work, you probably don't need a token because you're just setting yourself up for something like this. They rugged. I mean, let's just call it is what it is. They pulled the liquidity without telling anybody for no real reason. Other than they wanted the money back. So they rugged, and it was a completely self-inflicted wound. They didn't need to do this. They could have made a game, and
you could have not had a token. Here's an idea for Sonic, okay? Sacra was the FEM leader by far on the FEM leaderboard. Why not just not have a token and your top players get a cut of your FEM or whatever. And they're just getting paid in S. You don't need a token. And like I said, there are games out there that have successfully done the token thing. They are few and far between. I'm not going to like sit here and say, oh, it's, you know, happens all the time. But there are projects that have done it, but I just think that in gaming, especially, it's just, you got to really develop how it's going to work in your ecosystem and have an actual use case, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say use case, I don't mean like, sure, like people can, you know, buy cosmetics or buy items or whatever. And that works sometimes, but 90% of the time, it has to be deeper than that. There has to be some kind of like real flywheel actually built into your game system. And so it's difficult. I mean, you know, but yeah, I mean, like I said, there's just most of the time it doesn't need a token. It just doesn't.
What's interesting to me is that the idea of like the token in crypto that we think about it is it's married to this concept of it has to go up, right? The only thing that we think of as like stable coins are the only thing where people are like, oh, okay, it has like a set value, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when it comes to gaming, from my understanding, it's much more beneficial to just have something that has a flat value, like for your in-game economy, right?
Yeah.
Like V-Bucks have an exchange rate to the US dollar only. They don't fluctuate in value on their own because it's a lot easier to run a game like that. World of Warcraft and EVE Online are the only two games I know that have fairly successful in-game economies, which you could consider token economies because they're using the in-game currency, that have a what do you call that? A market with like US dollars, and they're very volatile. I think World of Warcraft only keeps it set through like another like gold. There's like an exchange rate in like gold or something. Anyway, I say all that because, you know, you really got to consider what the value is and what the risk you're taking here is. I don't know if Sacra's really going to pay too much. I mean, they claim that they lost more money than they got in the rug, but, you know, they still got.
Well, I mean, and that's what I come back to with the economy part of it is that basically in their statement, they go, everyone just farmed the token. Well, basically you were getting the token for farming the game. So shocked Pikachu face, we made a farm token that people farmed.
Well, yeah, that's the whole
doesn't seem like a reasonable reason to pull your token that people are holding and don't know you're about to remove liquidity and everything else, you know?
Yeah, it's a totally illegitimate reason to be upset about the token's price is that it performed as you designed it to. Yeah, still don't know what aggregators need tokens, but everyone needs one. SafeMoon just got nailed for taking from TGE liquidity. The MA had provided the initial liquidity, but they stole liquidity from its community. They should see jail time, not just change to no token. I would love to see some of the play out in court, but you know, with things in crypto, probably not going to happen. Very rarely that something will proceed to court, especially if it's not like giga huge, you know, like Congressman's son lost 50 grand. So now he's going to go to prison.
Well, this is, you know, you had stuff like this, but then like what Mendoza originally said, gotcha was one that happened, you know, and you have stuff like Sacra where, you know, they come out and just say, hey, here's why we did it. But then you have things like Gotcha where they had a raise and apparently the dev stole the pre-sale funds or something. And so, of course, you get into this murkier territory of 9 times out of 10, when the mysterious dev steals the funds, it's an inside job or something. But I guess at least they're, you know, and it was named Gotcha. But yeah, you know, you get into that murkier thing where it's like, oh, we had a mysterious dev that nobody actually knows and he took the money and we did, you know, it has nothing to do with the fact that the pre-sale wasn't going gangbusters or whatever. So I don't know. I guess what we can say right now is it seems like Sonic, we got a gaming problem. We got a game project problem.
Play to earn. I mean, people talk about this all the time, how to make play to earn work. The problem isn't that play to earn just won't work in the way that people want it to work, in that you're not going to become fucking rich playing a video game, dude. I'm sorry. That's just not how it's going to happen. It doesn't matter how early you are, because this is how it works. Unless someone can hack this and figure out a way to make it work, this is how the WoW system works. Thank you, BBQ. WoW is a WoW token where you buy a token with USD and then sell it on the auction house for a certain amount of gold. People will buy the token and use it for 1 month game time. That's why it works, because it's redeemable to something that is also redeemable in USD. So you can also, like, it has like an actual time value. I can redeem it for time. Now, you can also farm gold in WoW and then buy the token, and you've essentially paid for your game time with, your productivity in game. That's an economy.
Yeah.
There's no way for this to. I mean, we're all old heads here probably. Some of you might be Zoomers out there. If you know World of Warcraft gold farmers, the only way the economy can make you rich, and it doesn't even make you rich, the only way you can make like survivable income off of it is if you're in China and you're mining World of Warcraft gold all day, and then you sell it every day, for USD. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Sorry, I get passionate about it because I'm a gamer. I would love for GameFi.org. I would love to be able to play Baldur's Gate 3 and get paid for it. But the only way
someone will figure it out. Yeah, I mean, eventually, the WoW model is interesting because I don't play it. I really don't know anything about it. But this idea that you're buying your time, I could see that being feasible. Where the hard part on that, though, is that you have to make a game that people are willing to spend money. And that's a problem we also have in Web3 gaming, is just that it's usually, a lot of it's just kind of Fiverr knockoff things that are like been around since last run.
Yeah, I hate to be a passionate gamer here, Drac, but what you said really just nailed it for me, is that the problem with a lot of Web3 gaming too is that it's Web3 first, gaming second, right? Mm-hmm. Now you can see this play out in a lot of AAA games now, right? Like any of the sport games, right? NCAA, NFL, MLB, any sports game, right? That comes out every single year. They're built money first, right? But they have a simple system that they've already worked out. Like, they're using a sport. People love to play sports, simple game. But they're just harvesting off people because they have a financial game on top of the game that works, in that you buy players, you buy whatever. And most people that aren't like big into those games, they don't want to play them anymore. A big complaint for AAA now is all the games want to take my money for nothing. They want me to buy DLCs. They want me to buy skins or whatever. The real games that really you see blow up and become popular, right? Because if we're going to be honest, no Web3 game is going to compete with a AAA game that has $500 million in budget and the best developers that have 30 years of experience in this industry. The games that blow up are indie games that are made by people who have an idea. They like to play video games and they think this is going to be fun. They maybe want to make some money off of it, but they're not thinking money first. Monetization should come after you've made the thing people actually want to use.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this since from the beginning. Web3 gaming is always cart before the horse for some reason. Everyone just wants to make it rich without, I don't know, finding the product fit.
Yeah, and I've seen some interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with Shrapnel. It's a first-person shooter. They created like a Avalanche subnet to like run their system on for the Web3 component, and they had like some interesting ideas where it was like, okay, like you can monetize creators. And it even goes as far as, I think people can actually create their own cosmetics and sell them and stuff. But
Roblox.
what I noticed though, was that it was, kind of like what you were just saying now, was they actually created a pretty good game, and that token economy element came secondary to the game,
Mm-hmm. I have the BD guy who can get into talks with Roblox and actually get them to tokenize will make ungodly amounts of money, insane amounts of money, because that's a very, I think, of probably the most crypto applicable kind of system where you have like a market where people can make their own maps and games and skins, and then you use the token because then you have the redeemable value right there, and you have producers. It's a full economy.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I get real passionate about the gaming stuff. I always see it, and I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbecue's saying here that Eve, which is a pretty big, franchise or whatever, they have a new game, and it's going to run on Ethereum and has 2 different tokens. So I'll be curious to see how that works. That's a pretty big game.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a game. I feel like a lot of crypto guys would have liked that game because a lot of crypto guys are kind of like math nerds, script nerds. I remember I walked into my friend's older brother's room in high school. He was playing Eve, and he had like 4 monitors. He had like a spreadsheet, and he had like a price chart, and then he had the game, and then he had like a forum open. So he was like, yeah, I'm managing my guilds like ships, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, but yeah, I mean, and like Crypto Miner says here, I mean, if you're basically like trying to, make money off the token more so than worry about the game, then, you're basically already, you're already behind, right? I mean, the game just needs to come first. I think that's just kind of period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's just like you wouldn't, I don't know. I can't think of a good metaphor right now. It just doesn't make sense to go around it backwards,
He says, Sal says it takes 7 minutes to register a kill since it's on Ethereum.
I did enjoy those little videos when like different networks were showing off like how their gaming would work. It was like showing like Diablo or something. And they had to like click to confirm every time they moved.
Yeah, there was that meme where it was like they were having to confirm like every like 3 or 4 seconds with their wallet. Like,
could you imagine on Arbitrum you have to wait 2 weeks to confirm?
Yeah, well, it's like Sal says, we'll find out in 7 days. But yeah,
that's the only one.
I think the only thing we had left to talk about, and I guess we should talk about it real fast before we hop off, but there's been strategic missile strikes in Iran, but there's also been strategic missiles dropped on X in terms of a whole like slew of KOLs, like regarding, Solana trenches and Pump Fund. All these accounts got like suspended at the same time, including the Pump Fund account. And I think the founder's account, yeah, it was also suspended. So they just like dropped like a nuke on like a big chunk of that eco. Interesting to see. There is like rumors that there is some kind of case forming against Pump Fund in the US. Mm-hmm. Digging a little deeper, I have seen now 2 or 3 different posts claiming that the suspensions are not related to, any kind of case or anything. It's more that it's like related to X API abuse, which could be interesting. For enterprise level API on X, it's like $50,000 a month, which is insane.
God.
So
how is it ever worth it?
So not shocking that people are often trying to find workarounds to scrape data from X. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what people can really do about this. I don't know if they're ever going to change that model. I think that obviously $50,000 a month for what the X API actually does. I've made, AI agents and bots and played around with the X API. Like, for what you can actually really do with it, I definitely do not see $50,000 being any kind of value that makes sense for what that API does.
Dude, I think, look, I'm going to say something a little controversial here. I think you'd be hard pressed to find anything you can get get $50,000 worth of value out of X from. Yeah, I think it'd be impossible to get $50,000 of value from anything X has to offer. And that you can spend $50,000 on an ad campaign. I don't think it's going to pay as effectively as putting that money anywhere else. I'm just taking a shot at X here real quick. But yeah, it seems like all these pump.fun accounts, it's kind of disappointing that they're only going away because of API access, I think. I was hoping it was part of like some movement against them. Because I do think something fishy is going on Pump Fun. I feel like they do kind of need to be investigated. Maybe I'm evil for saying that, but
I wish there was a screenshot of. I'll try to see if I can find it real fast. But there was like a really good screenshot on X where somebody had like rounded up like all the accounts that got suspended at the same time, and I mean it was like 50, 60 accounts all just like boom like at once. So I mean it was obviously some kind of, planned effort to, make a statement about, abusing the API.
Yeah, maybe they're just covering, dude. Maybe they're just covering for the feds. It's actually like they're just grabbing everybody, dude. They're black bagging Pump Fun KOLs, taking Guantanamo and like making them eat mice and shit.
Well, and of course, like on the conspiracy side, a lot of accounts were related to the Retardio Milady Deriv, which often has questionable content related to their memes or whatever.
Yeah, these guys do kind of like to play it kind of crazy, don't they?
Yeah.
Here's against also on Pump.Fun is I didn't know if this was real or not. If you lost money on Pump.Fun, you may be entitled to compensation. Start your claim now. Berwick Law represents 500 plus investors pursuing legal action against Pump.Fun tokens. Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Is this real?
I don't know if it's real or not. Maybe somebody knows. I saw this post, but
it's just this guy keeps posting these pictures of himself. Yeah, okay, this looks legit. Looks like
it's real, I guess. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to, I was gonna say this: if this is real and there really is lawsuits coming against Pump.Fun, I mean, thank God Degen Express is kind of like
they're coming for you next.
Yeah, they're coming for Degen Express next. They're coming for all these other forks. Nah, we'll be fine.
I don't think you can, I'm sure that like if you look at the numbers, even the most successful meme launcher probably is literally like making less than 1% of what Pump Fun makes like in a day, over their entire. I mean, they've made Pump Fun's made $500 million in revenue. So
it's insane.
Yeah, so obviously they're going to go after the big fish if they're going after anybody. But interesting to see. I guess we'll see what happens. Now, we were talking before the show that, famous personality Gainsey had apparently said, because he's been streaming on there and he said, everything's going to be cleared up in like a few days or whatever. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Although Kobe says that Iran has taken out key Israeli infrastructure, so maybe they got nuked. I don't know.
Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, that's pretty much all we got for today.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've just got. We could just play this as we say the outro. Just watch Pakistanis assemble MP5s. So again, I want to thank you all for watching, joining us on this journey, and we'll see you again Thursday. We actually have a special episode on Thursday night with the
Sonic Sphere. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna stream with Sonic Sphere on Thursday. So we'll keep you updated on the time on that and stuff, but it'll be a GMSONIC evening stream.
That's right. It's going to be an evening stream, so get your dinner ready and watch it over dinner, buddy.
Well, we will see you guys then.
Adios.
GMSONIC is Corval and Dracula Presley. GM.